Hello everybody, it's Daniel from Foley's Finest Audio again. Um, so if you haven't seen the first part of this tutorial of Plug-in GUI Magic, how to add an editor and how to style knobs and different GUI controls in your plugin without writing code, that is a perfect moment to recap. Um, but yeah, if you have seen that, please stay with me, and I'm going to show you how we're going to add visualizations, an oscilloscope, an analyzer, and a level meter to our plugin to make it more appealing. So we're coming close to a finished product that you can actually ship. So let me share my screen, and you're going to see how it's been done. Alright, let's see what we did last time. First of all, we added this little tree state. Sorry. We added our magic state that will host our tree state, will connect via to our tree state to all the parameters and stuff. And we added the creation of our little editor that will create all our magic plugin interface, and also we added saving and loading via the magic state, which is all a nice simplification. So first of all, let's run that for a second to see what we had so far. We have the different buttons here, we have edit making sounds, and we have here the list of all the things. We can select them easily, find things like here, you can see what it's connected to. Okay, so far so good. What we want to do this time is, I promise you to have some visualizers like an oscilloscope, like a level meter. So those are things that are just appearing down here. There's a plot, there is a meter, and we can start dragging that in here, but we don't see anything. That is because it's not connected to anything. Let me see where we put that. Here is the meter. So and if we look at the meter, yeah, there are no sources. So in the code we need to define what we want to send to the meter, because it could be an input meter, could be an output meter, could be several things. So we have to write some code, unfortunately. But it's gonna be easy. First of all, there are several classes that are hidden here in the visualizers. There's an analyzer, there's a filter plot, for instance, if you want to display the frequency response curve of an IIR filter or something that I like, and there is the oscilloscope and the level source. So let's start with the level source. That means we want one of these things, and at the moment, plugin processor, we have the magic state, which will host our different kinds of sources. So first of all, let's write a level source that is so there is the magic level source. Autocomplete works perfectly. And let's not create it here, but instead let's do this in the body, because we want to put it right into the our magic state. So Here's our magic state, and we will see. Oh, it's just the first command. So perfect. Just pick that and say this is the name that will appear then later in your UI builder. So, you know, Plug-in GUI Magic. So we just create one of these. We are using make unique and magic level source. There we are. And we don't need anything to add. That's basically it. So now we will see something to connect to if we run. But we will need to initialize a few things. So we have the, oh, I forgot something. This will return us the pointer, so output meter will be assigned here. Okay, and now we can start working with that output meter. We have to prepare that setup source, and we need to know how many channels. So let's simply use the total number of output channels, because we don't use any buses or anything. Otherwise, we would need to be a little bit more careful here. So next thing is sample rate, easy. Block size, easy. RMS windows in milliseconds. That is something for you to figure out. If you want it to be very jumpy, put in a very low number. I usually go for 300 milliseconds that are standard for view. So that's gonna set up the level meter, but then we need something else, which is we need to tell it what to measure. So if we were to do it at the beginning, we would measure the input signal, but we want to see the output because as a synth we don't get any input. Okay, output meter, and now we just say push samples, and we give it the buffer that we just filled with our synth. So that's basically all we need to do. We're building, and let's run that. There we go. Where's our output meter? Yeah, it's obviously still not there, which is because there is nothing connected. There's the meter. Now in the sources we have something to select. Perfect. Those two. Doesn't look very nice. Let's just tweak that a little bit by putting this stuff into an extra container. Okay. And this container, that puts that next to each other. Okay, other way around. So, and yeah, that's how it's gonna look like. Let's use the gain slider and remove the text box. It's ugly. Now we see the slider again. And also what we will do is, this is looking ugly. So let's just go to the flex item and give it something smaller. 0.54. Okay. And if we see, it's going to display something. And we have all the different color options for sure. Like the outline color. Let's make that transparent. And you see this outline is gone. Yep, so Nice, isn't it? Okay, not so fascinating. I know you're waiting for the oscilloscope. So let's do that. Let's start the other way around this time. Let me just close that. Let's go and add some sources. So they all inherit from one common class here, which is the magic plot source. And by the way, you can happily inherit that. It's an abstract class, and just create your FIFO to accept samples to be measured, and you provide a method how to create a plot. So and with that you can basically plot anything. Oh yeah, and the prepare to play, how to set up your FIFO, is also something that you should implement. The rest is all done for you. So for instance, we can look just for fun into the oscilloscope. There's really not much in there. So just normal copy into FIFO. And the draw plot is really just creating a path with the line tools. So that's really not so complicated. You see, you can create that in 150 lines. Okay, so let's use that. Oh, come on. Source. And let's do another one for the analyzer as well. There we go. And let's populate that here in the constructor. By the way, please note that we put that as an object in the stack, not in the heap. So we can be sure that this is created before we enter the body of the constructor. Otherwise, you should make sure that this object is already around before you call the add plot source or add level source. So, but that's pretty obvious. Guess you would have known that. Magic state, add plot source. Now let's call it analyzer. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it after a dog. Make unique. Magic analyzer, there it is. Doesn't need any arguments. Done. And the other one, what did we name that? Oscilloscope. There's magic state. Add plot source. Call it oscilloscope. And create one. Alright, so in the prepare to play we called the output meter manually because there is certain stuff to set up, like the number of channels and the release time. But the plot sources are trivial, so there is a helper. We can just call the prepare to play on the magic state, and that will, because it's not a pointer, and that will initialize all the plot sources for you. There might be situations where you still want to do that manually. For instance, if you want to select individual channels, maybe you need an oscilloscope per channel. This one actually shows the sum of both, so it's like, yeah. That's maybe another tutorial then, how to make that in two separate stereo ones. Okay, so that's fine. And now we just need to push our samples. Again, analyzer, push samples, buffer, and oscilloscope, push samples, buffer, right. For some reasons I stick to the style guide. Alright, that's basically all we need to do. Let's run that. Okay, it's obviously not yet showing up because we need to make space for that somewhere. So let's do that again with some containers. Let's put the oscillators in here. And let's put a second view there. There we go. Now we have space for that. Let's start with that one. And let's start showing that somehow a little bit more. For instance, let's give it a background color. Yeah, black. It's perfect. Right. How did it know that? Okay. So now we can take the plots. I'm in the way. Oh, here it is. So let's drag the plot in here and tell it to display something nice. Here's the plot. Let's make it the output. Nothing's happening. Oh. Why does it show output? Doesn't really make sense. The plot should really show something else. Hang on, what did I do? Add plot source. Why does it give me the output to select? Oh. Somebody screwed up. That doesn't go well. Forgive me. Here we are. Let's set up options menu. Yes, that is the one. Plot source. There it is. There we go. Evil. All right. You saw me live fixing a bug. So this will be fixed before I release that video. Right, there we go. Back in our view, there is the plot. And let's select the analyzer. Yeah. There we go. And let's go to the other one and let's select the oscilloscope. Okay. Well, you see that's next to each other's. That's probably not what we want, so let's tweak that view a little bit. That is a container, and it's using Flagbox. That's wrong. Just want to use that one. Okay, and now slightly better, but now we need to tweak the colors a bit. So that's the analyzer. Let's give it some other color, for instance red, and let's fill the analyzer, but slightly transparent. Oops. Maybe like that. And let's get rid of the fur color here. I should give it a transparent default. So that's nicer. So for instance, if we were to pick a little bit more trigger signal. Alright, and something that I added here is we can make it to glow a little bit afterwards. Let's say I thought that's quite nice. The detune button, you see it a little bit more jumping. Yep. So that's how you create a nice little display. What you can also do is, here's a lot of space, use it for example, for your branding. Let's do that. Background image. Oh, we don't have any. That's a pity. Let's fix that. Alright, first what we're going to do, we look into the resources. So yes, actually there should be a logo, but why don't we have it? Easy. Let's go there. Open the juicer. There we are. And you see the logo is in there, but because if you have no resources added, that would have problems. That's why you need to enable that manually. So there we go. And we click on Save. All right, and if we run it now again, go. Yep, takes a little while. Shouldn't complain. 4 cores is really not that bad. Okay. Sorry for the waiting. Alright, here we are. Yep. Now let's go to that view. There it is. And let's put something in the background. Background image. Bam! That's a little bit too enormous. So let's fade that a little bit in the background. So can do that all. I mean the different options, like, okay, looks ugly. So that's probably the best. Yeah, so we use that space quite reasonable. Okay, what else can I show you? I mean, we see here that's a little bit ugly, so that's all the tweaking from the different settings here in the decorator. So there's probably a margin around that we don't want. So override that with 0. There's a padding that we don't want. Write that. And now we're perfectly aligned. So yeah, that's basically how that would work. Oh yeah, and this is still working perfect. So I mean, I can obviously tweak all the different settings. For instance, let's there's so much spread around, so we could easily take that one and how would we do that? No, that doesn't look too good. Right, let's put it next to that one. No, that wouldn't work because that goes into that. So yeah, you can play around with the stuff. That's the reason why we have this editor in the first place. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and get creative, make your nice UIs, and I'm looking forward to see what you're making. Bye bye.